Hello, everyone. Today, I am doing a scored review for Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Now, this game was developed by Square Enix, and the game was published by Square Enix. No surprise there, seeing as they were the ones that I think they were the ones that developed and published every main and side Final Fantasy. No. Every mainline Final Fantasy game. I forgot there has been a couple of side ones that weren't developed or published. Developed by them. Now, this is a turn-based RPG with the active time battle system. So if you've played 4 or 6, you know what, or 7 or 8. I can't remember if 9's active time. I think it is. But any of those, that's active time combat system. Now, I score games based on 5 categories. That is the graphics, the story, the music and sound effects, the gameplay mechanics, and achievements. Now, for the graphics of this game, obviously you can see on screen, this game is pixel, as it says in the game, Pixel Remaster. This is a pixel game. Now, to me, I like the pixel look better than most polygonal look of games. Like back when everything started first going 3D, granted some of it looked good, but a lot of it looked kind of meh. But I thought the pixel look tends to hold its graphic detail a little better over time. And I've always liked the pixel look in games. Now, overall, I would say if you're into this style of look, you will probably really find this game aesthetically pleasing. The monsters generally look pretty good as well, and so do the summon monsters that you can summon with the summoner. Boy, that was a lot of summons in one sentence. Now, for the story, I think this game really does well with the story. You have the overarching story that spans 3 worlds, 4 if you count the final dungeon, which is technically a world on its own. And also, there are little side events you can trigger in, I believe it's only the first world, where you get more background story of Bartz, Ferris, and Lena, and you find out more about their characters and like how things were going. But another thing this game does really well is the individual character arc and growth of each individual character. I personally like games where each character has their unique way of going through the story and their own reason for doing it. Granted, it's not as detailed as like the newer RPGs that are out, like Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate 3. These older Final Fantasy games overall aren't going to hold a candle story-wise to those. But like I said, overall story is amazing on this game. The music and sound effects. Now, the sound effects I think are very well done. The weapon sound effects and the spell sound effects I think look great. Which I didn't say in the graphics, but you know, oh, actually, yeah, I did. Never mind. I did touch over that in the graphics. As for the music, if you like the old school Final Fantasy songs, which I believe these ones were done by Nobuo Uematsu as well, which is probably my favorite Japanese musician. The orchestral music they brought forward to this, I think, was a very good upgrade to give the the background music and the comment and stuff like that, more ambiance to go with the setting that you're in. And as with all the Pixel Remaster games, you can, I believe, change the music between the old and the new. I could be wrong. Yeah, background music, and you can also do the graphic display, but that's another story. The gameplay and mechanics, so I'm going to start with the gameplay first. If you like turn-based RPGs, this one's pretty simple. Basically, all you do is you move around and you get into fights, and it's just simple button presses. Like, there's nothing complicated. It's not like a first-person shooter where you got to pay attention to your surroundings and watch out for enemies hiding in corners or anything like that. It's all very simple. You basically have a handful of buttons you're messing with the entirety of the game, so the gameplay is very simple. Now the mechanics, I think this is one of the strongest points of all the Final Fantasy games. If you've played Pixel Remaster 3 with the job system that they had there, I think this is a more in-depth and better done version, because in 3 certain classes like basically become worthless by certain points of the game because they can't equip newer weapons. I did like that each class in Final Fantasy 3 had individual levels which greatly influenced how effective the job was. In this one, the level system for the jobs doesn't make the class more effective. It allows you to unlock abilities of that class to be able to use in any of the other classes, or Freelancer, or Mimic. Now, a great thing about this game and the job class system is, for all of the classes aside from Freelancer and Mimic, any abilities you unlocked, each class comes with attack, their class specific ability, an item, and then you had one slot to add an ability to. If you're playing as Mimic, you have Mimic and then 3 categories you can change, but Freelancer has 2. But Freelancer also has the added benefit of scrolling down. All these passive abilities that like you equipped and they just work are automatically in effect on a Freelancer at all times, minus a few, like obviously Berserk and Two-Handed. Dual Wield does, Two-Handed doesn't. I honestly don't know. And like overall, the ability to mix and match abilities to handle certain situations, I think, is a great ability that this game has to be able to incentivize you to try new combos and methods. And that's one of the best things about this game, which allows you to have a lot of flexibility for replayability. Now for the achievements, this is one of those, well, while the achievements overall aren't hard, most of them are play through the story, learn all of these spells, master classes, master every class or job. Master jobs, master every job. The bestiary collection, finding all the treasure chests, finding all the lootable containers, and then there's 2 super bosses. So the achievements are very diverse. It's just that the big failure of this game is probably in the achievement list, which the bestiary and the treasure chest, there is a lot in this game you can miss. If you miss pretty much anything you do in World 1 and World 2, it basically becomes missable once you leave those worlds, exclusively because once you hit the 3rd world, you are locked out of the first 2 worlds, so to speak. It's basically both worlds merged together, but all the monsters that show up are pretty much gone. Most of the locations you visit are changed, or the monsters that do show up there aren't the same. So there's a lot of missable stuff, along with treasures, a lot of single time playthrough dungeons. So you got to make sure when you're going through this game If you're not following a walkthrough, be very thorough. If you don't readily like reading a walkthrough, if you just go to my channel on YouTube here and you pull up the playlist for this game, you can follow down. I mean, you may not have to watch the whole video, but you can see where I cover like story point, go through this dungeon. As you come across monsters, I show you basically the earliest point in the game you'll come across all, monsters, blue magic. Generally, like the earliest point you can get or do anything. There's a few that I didn't do that with, and there was behind the scenes reasons for it, or I just forgot about it and came back later and got it. But overall, I would say if I was to rate this game, because I know I rated Final Fantasy IV a 9, this game I think does it better, because in 4 there was like no in-game content, but basically once you get to World 3 in this one and you unlock the Void, everything else is in-game content, so there's a lot to do, a lot to unlock. So overall, I don't generally do this, but I'm going to give this game a 10 out of 10. I won't do this very often, and it's pretty much going to be exclusively like turn-based RPGs that I do this with. That if I give it a 10 out of 10, there's a few games I've played that aren't turn-based RPGs that I thought are probably that, but those are neither here nor now. But Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, I give it a 10 out of 10. And also, if you while you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps it out. As well as I say at the end of all these, as with all things gaming, game logic, am I right? I'll catch you all later.